Welcome back to the channel. Thank y'all for hanging with me on this Wednesday. So a couple days ago, I did a video that some of you enjoyed where it was sunny, no clouds, and very windy. And I basically explained some other things to look at other than just the protected banks, because bass aren't just going to push shad up against the bank in the fall. Sometimes they'll push them into mud lines or the calmer areas next to the windy area. So if you haven't seen that, go back and check out that video. But I also wanted to talk about when you are looking for fish on these slick, calm, sunny days with no clouds, where most of everything on the deck of your boat's not going to play. How do you go and find fish on a lake that you're not really familiar with? You don't really know any of the juice spots, and you have to go figure it out. So what I typically have done this time of year is lock one bait in my hand that I'm not only confident with, but I also don't mind fishing with for 10 hours of the day. It's enjoyable, it's fun. I'm not gonna be fatigued mentally after I get done fishing it. So it's an area thing this time of year. Most lakes that you go to, there's going to be a ton of dead water in the fall. You're going to eventually find something if you cover enough of that water, but you really can't look on a map and go, they're gonna be here, they should be here, like you can in the springtime or in the summer. This time of year, your fish are everywhere. Now, like my video I did a couple days ago, if you have wind and it's pushing all the bait, that's gonna move that population of fish that just seems spread out everywhere into small areas. But on these days where it's slick, calm, no wind, there's no condition that's really in your benefit at all, you have to lock something in your hand and just cover a bunch of water. But I do want to note this, because I think this is very important. Now, if you're going to go and you can get your bait to any possible fish, then you're doing the right thing. But if there's situations where maybe the fish are way back underneath low-hanging trees and bushes, you're going to need a chatterbait to skip way back up under there. Or maybe you're in the right area, but you're fishing the outside edge of that big slop grass patch. The fish are way, way, way back in the thick stuff. And if you're just fishing the outside edge and covering water around that, you may have found the right area. You're just not getting the bait to the fish. So the bait is still very important. Still very important to have 12 rods or more on the deck of your boat so you can get a bait to any potential place where a bass could swim. But I think the big key this time of year when you're on unfamiliar waters is to lock something in your hand that you enjoy fishing, that has some conviction when you put it in the water, or at least you have some conviction when you're fishing with it. So if you want to bypass putting 15 rods on your deck and just pick up one bait from the time you get there, make sure it's a bait that you know you're putting around the big fish, and then just roll with that and pick something that has a really high landing percentage, because you're not going to get many bites, and the bites that you are getting are the quality bites. So the jig, that's where I really like the jig. The frog, that's where I really don't like the frog. So when it comes to these techniques, have other suitable options. You know, if they're missing the frog, have something you can punch right back in there if they're in that heavier cover. Same thing goes with skipping the chatterbait underneath the trees that I talked about. If you can get your crankbait in those same general areas, these are days where fish are not going to commit to the bait as well. You're going to have a lot of fish that just short strike it. And when it comes to a bait like a jig, if I'm not landing them, it's probably something that I did. It's not the fish, and the landing percentage is usually really, really good with this bait. So that's the whole key to this thing. If you're just going to lock one thing in your hand, land everything that bites. Try that. Good luck to you, and I'll see you on the water.